Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here, as always, with my partner in crime, Sam Schneider, and this is a wild card recap episode of Jungle Talk. Yeah,
hey baby, 31 years is gone.
No, and that's it. The monkey is gone. We finally, after 31 years, get the monkey off our back. I don't know about you, a lot closer game than I wanted. We were up 10. I was like, okay, and then it looked like, all right, here we go again. I just didn't need a repeat of 2015.
Yeah, nothing's shocking though. Nothing's shocking though. It is the playoffs. I would have liked it to be a wider margin, but you got to figure everybody's they're gonna bring everything they got.
Yeah, well, it's I think we all were on the edge of our seat there. So, but
would have you paid for the entire seat, but only need the edge.
That seat got its money's worth. So,
right.
But go ahead and tell them where they can find your stuff, and please subscribe. If you don't subscribe, it's all we ask. Go ahead and tell them where they can find your stuff, Sam.
Absolutely. And hit that little bell while you're at it and drop us a comment and let us know how you're feeling, Houday Nation.
That's right.
You can find me on Twitter at Buy and Sell You. I write for Primetime Sports Talk. You could find us at Talk Primetime or at primetimesportstalk.com.
There you go. All right. And we're going to, Sam, you want to tell them a little bit about the jersey poll? We're going to talk about it at the end of the episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. You know what? Matter of fact, I got it right here for anybody that wasn't with us last week. I said that if we win this game, we're going to give away a jersey. And we're going to give you the rules here towards the end of the video. But just in case anybody was doubting that it is in existence, there it is. That is T. Higgins.
There it is.
It is a white 85 jersey. Perfect for framing. I wouldn't wear it so much that the marker wears out. But this is legit. And as you all know, Higgins is switching to number 5 next year. So 85 could get a little bit rare, but we'll let you know how to win that at the end of the video, and we will give it away on the preview show on Thursday.
There you go. So all right, we're gonna go through the good and the bad, and let's start with the biggest bad is officiating. And I thought it was equally bad on both sides. I thought the late whistle, I didn't think it really affected the play because Boyd almost had the ball.
Yeah.
And they don't listen to the sound, I guess, on the replay. They only look at the replay. But
right.
And then the Raiders were given a timeout when we should have had the ball at the 6-yard line.
Right.
So I thought but it was just equally bad officiating on both sides. Jerome Booger is not one of my favorite refs. And I don't like the fact that they do all-star crews. So you don't have a crew that worked together all year, but the officiating was terrible.
I actually do like Jerome Booger, but I like him when he's not officiating our game.
Right. So you don't like him. If you have to have him on another game, then you don't like him.
If he's on another game, I think he's fun to watch. I love the thing. Illegal touching on my shoulders on the defense. That man had gotten away. I love that stuff. It's great. Right. He's fantastic for television.
Yes.
But even without the all-star crew for the playoffs, Boger's crews usually throw tons of flags. It wasn't that bad today. It wasn't, although there was at one point, I think late in the third, where they had thrown a bunch in a row. And I was like, oh no, they're really inserting themselves into this game,
right,
which is not what you want to see when, in the first half, they had let people play pretty well. And, we talked about this just for a moment before we went on. We're, as Bengals fans, we're excited. We won, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But, doesn't it just figure for us, for the amount of respect that Cincinnati gets, that we're going to have to hear about that whistle all this week? All this week. And like you said, it didn't matter. I mean, he blew the whistle when he didn't blow the whistle with enough time for the defense to stop and go, right, oh, he blew the whistle, we quit. No, Boyd was wide open anyway. He almost caught the ball by the time the whistle
before it got to Boyd's hands, and Boyd was already going up for the ball.
Yeah, so, but people are going to complain about it all week, especially Raider fans. And it was baloney, and that ref should not be allowed to ever officiate another postseason game, as far as I'm concerned,
well,
because it was an inadvertent whistle that he had no business blowing. It's not even like it was close. I mean, Burrow's foot was still probably 1.5 to 2 feet from the out of bounds line.
Yeah.
Yes, his next step was out of bounds, but the ball was already in the air at that point.
No, it
so
was.
God, shut it down, for crying out
Right.
loud. Stop talking about it.
Well, we've complained before and said that there's no accountability on the referees.
Right.
So you don't know the names.
There's
you
not.
don't know- So, and that needs to change. But you know, you had the BS roughing the passer on
Oh
on
my
Kareem.
God.
I was just, and then we got which I thought was just as much a BS roughing the passer on Crosby when and it got negated because they gave them the timeout. But I thought that was just, both the roughing the passer calls were bad. Like I said, the crew was equally bad. I've talked to a couple Raider fans after the game. They didn't have the sentiment, but that doesn't mean that the rest of Raider Nation isn't. They were pretty much like, yeah, we got the timeout and you guys got the whistle. And it was like I said, 7 penalties on each side. They both had, you know, we added on the BS roughing. We basically gave them a 30-yard play when they got the ball at the 35 to start. All of a sudden they were on our side of the field. So
and at the end of the day, you know, anytime we sit here and we, you know, wax poetic about the calls that were made, at the end of the day, none of the calls in this game were not able to be overcome by the team that they were called against. Each team made its fair share of boneheaded plays,
right,
where they could have easily overcome, you know, a whistle that maybe didn't go their way. So I don't think the refs decided this game, especially like you said, it was pretty even on both sides. They got some crummy calls. We got some crummy calls. Neither team played amazingly well. It was a dogfight, like we sort of expected it to be,
right,
for two teams that combined for 50 years of not winning a postseason game.
right.
And you know, like you said on the kickoff, you know, there was no call against the guy that decided to field the ball at the 2-yard line and step out of bounds. When he could have had the ball on the 40 if he'd have let it go.
Yeah. And that led to 3 points for us because we ended up holding them, getting the ball at midfield and getting a field goal out of it. So, which leads me to our other one. I didn't like, you know, the fact that 2 of our, you're going up against the worst team in the red zone in the NFL, and yet you only score on 1 of your first 3 possessions in the red zone. We finished the half out 2 of 4, but still we could have had more points. So, but I will say I was glad to take the field goals when they were there. One of the things that concerns me is, you know, I still look back on the Sunday night game last week and say that coach cost them the game. Going for it on your 18 and 3-point game. I mean, not taking points when he had chances to take points. I don't agree with that. Like I said, sending Burrow up to the line to try to draw them off, or snap the ball if you like the front and then not getting it, calling the timeout and going back up 2 scores. That's the way to play that. You don't give
that
away.
was exactly the right way to do it. I understand that there are people out there that want to see the killer instinct. You know, it's 4th and 1 or 4th and less than 1, and the percentages say you're going to get it on a sneak, but it's still a percentage. It's not 100. You know what I mean? So I think trying to draw them off was the right call. But at that point, we're up by a touchdown. Going up by 2 scores with under 7 minutes to go, way more important. Way more important.
Think about the Kansas City game. You're throwing your quarterback into the pile. Do we really want to throw Burrow into another pile of humanity and hope
not really
turn an 8? Right. So, like I said, I was okay with all that. I absolutely hated our 2-minute defense to end the half. I felt like we controlled the whole half, and then we go into the prevent. We gift them a touchdown right before half. We can go in with up 2 scores, and instead we go in up 7 on a half where we scored on every one of our possessions and didn't punt and didn't turn the ball over on turnover or downs.
Yeah,
So,
and I respect I mean, we played zone for pretty much the entire game. There was very, very little man-to-man on defense, and I don't have a problem with that. But the zone was very, very soft. I mean, we were giving them a lot of cushion. On one hand, I understand you don't want to let Renfro or Waller get through the second level and possibly break free because you're playing too close.
right.
But boy, oh boy, did we give them a lot of really, really easy throws over the middle. And that concerned me a little bit, but we haven't done a lot of that this season. So I'm thinking that was primarily this game plan.
Right.
I mean, we've done it this season, but it's usually when we're way ahead and it's late in the game. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm convinced that whoever we play next, we won't necessarily, adopt that same strategy. But I have one bad thing that I wanted to mention.
Okay.
I don't think that in your first playoff game, when you're trying to win your first playoff game in 31 years, is the time to decide that Chris Evans is going to return kicks for you.
Right.
Number one, he dropped one of them.
Right.
He looked unsure catching the ball every time. And I really didn't expect this at all. But man, it's like that guy, it almost feels like you have to crank him up like an old like Matchbox car. I mean, his first 10 steps after he catches the ball, it looks like he's running in quicksand.
Right.
I would way rather have somebody catch the ball who's got a little bit of a burst there. I thought that was a really, really poor idea. I'm sure they practiced with him all week and
Right.
had him fielding kicks. And I'm sure for them that, the one that he dropped was a surprise. But this is not the time to be fucking screwing around with what got you here. I don't care if our kick returners are not the best in the world. I don't think throwing a guy back there who hasn't done it for you all year long in the first playoff game is really the way to go.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't take that same take with that. I didn't like Evans when he didn't catch the first one, but the next two returns, he had a good second return, and his third return was pretty good. But like I said, that was something new, and I agree with you in terms of breaking out new stuff in the playoffs.
Right.
Plays are one thing, but to fundamentally change some type of special teams play, especially when basically we gave away the Niner game on two muffed punts. Those plays change games.
Right.
We have a
But
loss on our
these are
schedule because of that.
these are kickoffs.
Right.
Kickoffs.
Right.
Kickoffs.
Right.
And here's the other reason I guess that maybe would support my argument. John Carlson, the kicker for the Raiders, is a really good kicker. You think he can't kick it through the end zone? He can kick it through the end zone anytime he wants to. And what did he do? He kicked it to the 2 every single time because they knew we had a brand new guy back there.
Right.
And they were like, let's just see.
Right.
And frankly, it pretty much worked out for him.
Right. The other thing I have, and this is stuff that we lost Ogunjobi on a non-contact injury. He was engaged with somebody, but he took a step and it was awkward. And so I consider that to be a non-contact injury because it was basically his foot in the turf. But that was not good because they had to take him away on the cart.
I even texted, I'm on a text thread with some of my friends that are huge Bengal fans. I said, Ogunjobi has that look on his face like he felt something pop.
Yeah, he hit his helmet on the ground. It was noticeably upset, which so I don't think we see him the rest of the postseason.
I don't either.
And then the other one is Hendrickson. There was a noticeable difference in pass rush immediately. All of a sudden, Josh Jacobs could run the ball better when Hendrickson went out because of the concussion. So I'm hoping he's in and out of concussion protocol, and we have him back next week because our defense is going to look a lot different if we don't have Hendrickson there on the end. So those were two very bad things. The other injuries I was going to talk about, Hilton went off for one play. Hargraves comes in and commits the pass interference. You're just kind of like going, oh, and that's why it's so critical. Even if a guy's only out the field, like Mike Hilton was for 2 plays, it led to a big 4th down conversion. I talked about the bad roughing. We were having trouble getting pressure on Carr to begin with. And then we lost Hendrickson. We got no pressure on him. We did have our moments where we sent pressure. Hendrickson got the strip sack, where we got I think Ogunjobi got the recovery.
Yes, he did.
But other than that, I mean, we needed to get more pressure on Carr. I thought Carr had way too much time. And that was pretty much, I mean, that's all I got. Jonah's holding penalty was unnecessary, and that led, and Burrow held too long, but most of that stuff. So I'm going to end the bad. I'm done with the bad. I want to get,
let's I mean, it's our first playoff win in 31 years. Let's move on to the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, all right. Great answer on our first drive. I've got, I really liked, obviously, Hendrickson getting the strip sack. They talked about it on TV, but they had, Moreau, their tight end blocking Hendrickson. That's going to be a loss every time. We talked about the gift we got from the kickoff, and then the crowd noise. Hey, shout out to the Bengals.
Wow.
The crowd noise, that's the loudest I've ever, that we actually had teams having trouble calling plays. We haven't had that in the jungle in a while.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
It was officially, by the way, the largest crowd ever at Paul Brown Stadium for a home game.
Yeah. And then the other one was our red zone D. Like I said, I thought our red zone, we held the Raiders to primarily, field goals when they got to the red zone. And then we scored on all four of our first half. We did not punt till 6 minutes left in the third quarter. That was our first punt of the game. And then the last one was Jesse Bates played a great game today.
He did.
He had a couple he knocked the ball out of Renfro's hands on the play we had to challenge. And late on the last two drives, he had key breakups and passes defended. So
and he was key to helping Eli Apple. We kind of got bad Eli Apple again this week.
Yeah, he didn't play tight coverage on one of the.
After he had played so well down the stretch and was making me eat crow every week.
Right.
He played so well down the stretch in the regular season, and he kind of reverted a little bit today. And I don't know if it was the product of the play calls or if he had the jitters or whatever. I'm not saying he was terrible, but anytime they had a pretty big play, it seemed like Apple was the one that
picked on him in the
finally closed and made the tackle. And you're like, well, at least you made the tackle because that was your dude.
Yeah, but you would close on the guy after he let the guy run beyond the markers.
Right.
So when he caught the ball, it's like you need a little tighter coverage on that.
Right.
So
right. I agree with you, though. Jesse Bates had a great day.
Jesse Bates had a great day. And the last one I'm talking about, it's the little things. We dumped Billy Price for Hill, and Hill made a big sack. I was like, oh my gosh.
And that was after Hendrickson was out of the game, when we were hoping for any sort of
and Mike Daniels
rush.
And Ojinobi were all out. Hill comes in and he gets a big sack for us. And I was like,
we were just hoping for someone to be able to get back there because with Hendrickson out, we were getting no pressure.
Right.
And here's BJ Hill. And not only that, but on that play, if you go back and watch it, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He started in at his normal IDL spot and then looped around and came around the left side of the defensive line and got him.
Have to look.
So this is a 350-pound guy who got a push in the middle and then said, I'm going to go that way, and turned around and ran around the end of the line and still got the sack.
Yeah.
God bless BJ Hill. I don't know where we'd be without him, frankly.
Yeah. Now he's made some key plays. It was this little trade we did right before the start of the season where, the Giants needed some depth on the line. We needed some depth on the defensive line. And we said, hey, we each have these guys that have been disappointing to our rosters. Why don't we swap them? I don't remember where Hill was drafted. Obviously Price was a first rounder for us. And what a way to recover something for that. Draft pick.
It's BJ Hill is playing so well that I'm actually almost turning the corner on calling drafting Billy Price a good pick. Because if BJ Hill plays like this, even just for one more year, I'll be like, hey, that was successful.
All I know is that trade. Well, we threw lipstick on a pig and sent Price to the Giants, and
we sure did,
and they took him. Oh my gosh! So, that's the last thing I had on my list. But what a great. Like I said, he's just contributed a lot. You go.
I've got a big one on my
Okay.
list that I think needs to be addressed. Um, with the exception of a stretch late in the third, where they were obviously gassed, our offensive line played outstanding today.
Yeah.
They played outstanding football. A couple penalties, sure. A hold here, a hold there. But the offensive line played great. And just like we said in the preview, they utilized the running backs and the tight ends very, very well on Max Crosby on the
Yes.
right side. And you didn't hear Ndakwe's name the whole
At all.
game. So Jonah and Spain were doing their thing over there on the left side extremely well too. But there were a number of times when I was just like, God, Burrow he's got forever back there. He had a lot of, and that's even considering the fact that they were playing pretty good secondary defense. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but Burrow didn't put a lot of zing on his balls today. He really kind of lazed it up a little bit, which I think is a product of him thinking, I need to get the ball out a little earlier, so I'm going to soft toss it and let my guy have time to get underneath it rather than zipping it through there and trying to hit him in the numbers because he's not where he needs to be yet. But the offensive line played a great game today. And, if I have to, I'll keep picking out guys in the preview and calling off their names. If it means someone like Isaiah Prince, who I called out really, really bad on Thursday, and he had a great game today. I don't rely on PFF scores and things like that. I rely on the eye test. And Isaiah Prince, with a little help from tight ends, just looked really, really good today on the right side. I was so impressed with our offensive line today. I thought it was one of their better performances.
Yeah, I agree. And on the Burrow passing, everything except that rope he threw to Uzama that went right by the Raiders. And our receivers, Chase does this all the time, but CJ did it today too. Don't tip off the balls coming. So the DB never turns his head. So literally the underneath coverage just heard the ball go by his ear, but didn't turn around to react. Uzama had the ball. Yeah, Uzama already had the ball. And Chase is very good at that too, not tipping off that the ball's coming. But that pass by Burrow, that was just a rope. That was just...
I also really enjoyed it. You mentioned Chase. I also really enjoyed today. I like it when the whole country gets to watch our team and see what we are, you know what I mean? Because they haven't, other than, maybe the Chiefs game, we're not always played in a lot of markets and stuff like that, but we were the only game in town. It's the playoffs. So, people were watching playoffs. And I really liked the fact that people got the opportunity to see that Jamar Chase is not a one-trick pony. No. He's not a Randy Moss rookie, and that's not taking anything away from Moss. But Moss's trick was just run, and Culpepper's going to try to drop it in the basket.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Chase today, we didn't take a whole lot of shots down the field. We took one and he barely missed it.
Right.
But he ran the ball 3 times for 23 yards. I think all 3 of those were first downs, if I'm not mistaken, or conversions for a first down. He caught 9 balls for 120-ish, somewhere around there. So it's nice as a Bengals fan, it feels good to have other people see that Chase is not just, the deep threat. They see his yards, they see his touchdowns. They're like, okay, I get it. He just runs far and they try to throw the ball. No, he owned this game. I thought it was going to be a T. Higgins game. T. Higgins only had 1 catch. Burrow actually only completed passes to 5 receivers. One of which is Mixon. So 4 receivers and 1 running back. Right. Yeah. Higgins
only had 1. He had a couple targets, but a couple of them he didn't hold on to. Chase was 9 catches for 116.
Yeah, 9 catches for 116 and 3 rushes for 23 yards. So 12 touches for 149 yards. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. And Boyd getting open on that touchdown. Whistle be damned, he was going to catch it regardless.
Right.
That was key. You like to see your veterans step up there.
Right.
I just, it was a nerve-wracking game towards the end, but all in all, I think we executed and we executed well. It would have been nice to punch in a couple more red zone touchdowns, but isn't it nice when you send out your field goal kicker and you don't worry he's going to miss it?
Right.
It's like every time Evan trots onto the field, you're like, okay, and you already know what the score is about to be.
Right.
You feel completely comfortable that he's going to hit it. Whereas from 15 yards out, if it was Randy Bullock, you're sitting there going, need to hit this, need to hit this.
Right. No, I don't miss Fat Randy at all.
Right. No.
So, but no. And I also appreciate the fact I like aggressive play calling, but I think Brandon Staley is over the top. And I think he cost his team a playoff berth because of his coaching. And I was glad to see Zach take, even though it was 2 of 4, it's better to take the 20 points than to come away with, two of, not get the 2 field goals and only have 14 points.
Right.
So then it would, should have been 14-13 at half. So no, sometimes you got to take them. Like I said, we talked about this already, sending Burrow out to either only snap it if he liked the front he saw. Right. Otherwise, take the time out and come in. And he was smart because he went ahead and said, with 10 seconds left on the play clock, he said, okay, I'm not getting the front. They're not biting on the offsides. I'm going to call a timeout because if you keep those guys bent over too long, one of them will flex, move, slip, and all of a sudden
you're just like lean forward and go face first into the turf. Yeah. And they're like,
sometimes you cannot have those guys down in the stance too long. And I think Burrow saw that and said, okay, it's not happening. We don't have the front we want, and just went ahead. And so kudos there. All right, let's go ahead and give them the details on the jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to remind everybody too, before I talk about the jersey stuff, I want to remind everybody, this is the playoffs, and people got in for a reason. The Raiders had won 4 straight. They had been playing way better than they did when Mark and I saw them in Las Vegas. They deserve to be there. So, if you're out there thinking, well, we should have killed the Raiders, that's not true. This is the playoffs, man. This is everybody 0-0. It's a new season. And you're going to get everybody's best shot. You know what I mean? This is not playing the Giants or the Browns or the Texans or anything like that.
No.
You're going to get there are no easy games from here on out. So anytime you win, that is a big victory.
Waller had a couple great catches today. Yeah. Crosby is just a beast. We didn't have an answer for him when we were in Vegas. We didn't have an answer for him today either. But we mitigated it. It was kind of like we mitigated Kelsey, so he wasn't a big factor. But and Carr made a couple great that pass to Waller. I mean, that was equal to Burrow's pass to Uzomah that was on a rope. So there were some great plays.
And like you said, mitigated is a great word. That's what we did with Crosby. We said he's going to get he's going to get back there. He's going to get a sack. He's going to cause some problems. But let's not let him run the game. And it was the same thing with Renfro and Waller, who we talked about in the preview. These 2 guys are really, really talented, and we knew they were going to get some stuff. But we didn't beat ourselves over it or beat ourselves up over it each time they made a catch. We kept it. We kept it in check, and I would like to think that we kept them in check.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the jersey.
Let's talk about the jersey.
All right, guys. Here's the deal. So I have this signed number 85 T. Higgins jersey. It has got the certificate of authenticity. It was witnessed. It is legitimately T. Higgins. It's kind of a nice piece, to be honest. You know what I mean? To hang up in your man cave or wherever you got. So here's what you got to do. We need you to, if you're on Twitter, and I hope you are, go on Twitter. You need to follow each of us. You need to follow Mark. He is at LA Bengals fan. You need to follow me. I am at Buy and Sell You.
Right.
each week, every time we do these videos, we each post them on our timeline. When we do, you need to retweet it, and then I need you to tag a friend in the comments.
Right.
So they see it too. Now, as a caveat, if you're not on Twitter, because there are some of you that aren't, you can go on Facebook and go to facebook.com / LA Bengals fan. That is Mark's page.
Right.
He posts the video there too. Same deal. Share it, tag a friend in the comments.
Yes.
That's all you need to do. And other than that, the
And
same
be a
thing.
subscriber. You have to be a subscriber of our channel.
Yeah, you have to be a subscriber of the channel. So, and I know you guys already all do this. Toss us a like down there. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you know when we're going live. Even in the off season, we don't do it as often, but we still talk about, stuff before the draft, free agency every couple of weeks, things like that. Not that this season is done by any means.
Right.
But so you do those things, tag a friend, and if your YouTube username is different than your Twitter or Facebook username, why don't you throw your YouTube username in there if you think about it, just so that when we announce it, you'll know. And we will do this on Thursday.
Right.
On Thursday, somebody is getting that. And for everybody that does that, we're going to throw all your names in a hat. We're going to draw it live right here when we do the preview, and whoever wins, I'm going to ship you the jersey.
That's it. It's just that simple. And we're going to have to do the cutoff on Wednesday so we can go in Thursday and see everybody who did that. So you have till midnight Wednesday to do exactly what we said. Retweet, tag, do all the stuff. And then we'll go ahead on Thursday. We'll get the names. And when we do our preview show on Thursday for our upcoming game, which we don't know who we're going to be playing yet, because
we don't know.
We don't know. So
it could be
New England, Buffalo, Tennessee.
Could be beans, could be fruit cocktail.
That's right. It's a dented can with no label. So we don't know. But go ahead and do that. And we will do the drawing on Thursday. So there you have it.
To make it concise, one more time, Mark. I'm sorry, because I'm
go right ahead. I'm going to drink some vitamin water. Go right ahead.
I'm a little obsessive compulsive. On Twitter, follow LA Bengals fan. Follow Buy and Sell You. From one of the accounts, retweet this video, tag a friend in the comments.
Yes.
If you're not on Twitter, go to LA Bengals fan page, follow that, and share this video and tag a friend in the comments.
Yes.
Let us know your YouTube name too, and we're going to give somebody a jersey. Let's do it.
We go through and it's very easy for us to check. We're going to go through the retweets, and we're going to go through the shares, and those are the names we're going to take. And you have till Wednesday night. So,
and don't forget to comment down below, baby.
And subscribe. So with that, guys, we have another preview and recap to do because we're still in the playoffs.
That's right, baby.
The monkey has been shed. The Detroit Lions now, whenever they talk about playoff droughts, they're on the clock.
I feel 30 pounds lighter without the monkey.
Gosh, it's we almost were there in 2015. Didn't happen. We were robbed by the refs, but this year we got it. So
it's a great day to be a Bengals fan.
Great day to be a Bengals fan. A lot of, like I said, you saw after you watched any of the pregame, you saw Drew Brees, and I guess Burrow said he's never starstruck, but he was, because this was the quarterback he loved growing up.
Yeah,
and
it's his favorite quarterback, LSU, and he was calling the game.
Yeah, they exchanged LSU and Saints jersey, and I saw Drew Brees' kid was in so his kid probably just like Burrow followed Brees. I bet you Brees' kid is a big Burrow fan. They live in the Louisiana area, and he plays the Saints.
Brees actually has a couple kids, and Burrow's met them before.
Yeah, so
he's met them before. There's a video out there. You could probably find it on YouTube if you search for it. But yeah, Burrow has met Brees' kids.
So all good. That's just good stuff. So, but really, so we are ready to do another show. So I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
One more thing before we go. I want to give a big fat shout out to the gang in Bengals West. Out in LA, because they came out in full force at Five Line Tavern and packed the place. I mean, packed the place. And that is so good to see. I started that group 15 years ago. My buddy Todd has taken it over since I left to move back to Cincinnati last year. But boy, they came out in full force, and I bet it'll be double that next week. I think they ran out of beer at halftime today, and they had to go pick up more.
That's okay. Plenty of, well, you can go buy it all. And I got to give a shout out to Josh and Lawrence, who were the guys I was in Vegas with. They actually made the trek. One's a Raider fan, one's a Bengals fan, and they actually made the trek to Cincinnati. So I was getting tweets from texts from them with different pictures because that place was rocking. They sent me a couple videos with audio that were just like, I thought, oh wow, that place is just, the jungle was rocking. So,
well, Thursday for the preview, we're giving a shout out to whoever's taking home this bad boy.
There you go. So you know what you have to do? We're going to end the video now. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll do our drawing. With that, I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day!
And onward in the playoffs. Take care, everybody.